WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
Welcome into First Alert Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. We're going to be dealing with more freezing temperatures and frost for parts of the area tonight. Let's get to those First Alert weather headlines and expecting those low temperatures to be tumbling into the mid-30s out there tonight. And even with temperatures as low as 35 and 36 in a lot of locations, we still get close to that frost point out there right at the surface. So frost is a concern. And hopefully by now you've had the plants covered because we've been dealing with freezing temperatures for a couple of mornings. And there's going to be more freezing temperatures on the way over the weekend. This is certainly a March cold snap, and we're going to continue to deal with that. But we do have a brief warm-up going into Friday as rain returns, a few storms possible. And again, we'll be watching it this weekend. Out there today, it was a beautiful day. I noticed if you look there on the horizon from Centerville, that's looking back into the direction of the Okmulgee Talladega National Forest area there, the Okmulgee district, and you can see that it's quite hazy. That's because we've been dealing with a lot of prescribed burns out there today. I've been noticing some of the weather cameras across the state, but that's been happening, of course, very dry conditions, and that means temperatures will drop off quickly as we go to AccuTrack radar 61 Tuscaloosa. That was a forecast high for today, as we told you about, 60 there around Birmingham. Nice rebound in those temperatures. And actually, if you look at radar, you may have noticed on the weather app, you see some little green pockets there showing up as some of those smoke plumes from some of those burns happening around the state today. But tonight, very dry, pleasant evening. You look at this view, and this is a live picture from Red Mountain. Almost has kind of that fall look to it, right? Out there this evening. Certainly feeling like that. 7 to 8 o'clock, though chilly if you want to get a walk in tonight here after supper time. And again, expect those lows down into the mid-30s. But this is what we expect for those temperatures early tomorrow morning. Again, not the deep freeze, but jacket weather early on, and then a big improvement. Highs tomorrow close to 70 degrees, but then we have again some more cool weather that we're going to be talking about for the weekend. So that's all coming up right here on Weather Extra. We'll have the full 7-day forecast. We'll talk about that system that's going to bring rainfall on Friday, St. Patrick's Day showers, and a great white shark caught on camera in Alabama. We'll explain impacts of Cyclone Freddy and more on that chilly weekend ahead. Stay with us.
We know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team, always on your side.
Some people may think you're overreacting. Some may ask, is there a storm coming? That's okay, because knowing the first alert has helped you beat the rush. Being prepared puts you in control and changes the what if to you're okay. Knowing first is everything. First Alert Weather.
If you have plans for this weekend, we have a first alert for a wintry mix.
When you need to know next week, tomorrow, or even right now, the WBRC First Alert Weather Team is always on your side, whenever and wherever you need us. This is why we First Alert.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. You know, hurricane season for us doesn't begin until June 1st, so we don't have to worry about that just yet, but a very different story for other parts of the world. We check in for meteorologist Matt Daniel for an update on Cyclone Freddy.
Have you heard about a tropical cyclone or hurricane called Freddie? Well, there is a tropical cyclone. It's equivalent to what we call hurricanes or tropical storms, but this formed in the southern hemisphere, and it started out in Australia and near Indonesia. And this thing has been breaking records globally, and it's been around for over a month. That's how crazy the storm is. So let's show you about Tropical Cyclone Freddie. There's Australia, and you can see where it starts. It became a hurricane, or what they call a tropical cyclone there in the southern hemisphere. And look what happens. It moved all the way from Australia all the way towards the African coast across the Indian Ocean, and it became a Category 5 equivalent hurricane. And as you can see, right around February 21st or so, it made landfall in Madagascar, and then it sort of lingered, made another landfall near Mozambique, and then it sort of just hovered and produced a lot of heavy rainfall. It made a U-turn right back into Madagascar, and then it went right back up into Mozambique. And notice it's pretty much now has diminished on March 14th. So it's been over a month since this storm has formed. So I want to show you some of the timelines. Just as I said, formed right around February 6th off the coast of Indonesia and West Australia, struck Madagascar, and then had a second strike, and then created some devastating flooding in parts of Malawi. Approximately, as of early this morning, almost 200 people have died, and we've had almost 25 to 50 deaths as well in parts of Mozambique and to those areas as well. So pretty devastating storm. So here it is, a loop of it, right around February 21st. You can see it was a pretty powerful hurricane, or cyclone is what they call it there, a Category 3 making landfall. And then notice it made its way farther to the west and then made a second landfall in Mozambique. This is right around February 23rd, 24th. And then as we went into February 24th to the 27th, it kind of just sat there, spinned away, it's weakened, but it produced some devastating rainfall. And then the model showed it moving right back out into the open waters of the Mozambique Channel. And so, as you know, with tropical systems, they gain their strength from warm water. So as it moved over that water, it made its way back, producing more rain, and then it moved right back again and intensified over that channel right around March 7th, March 8th, and then eventually made another landfall, and it sort of just stalled there in Mozambique again. So that would be the third landfall it made, total second for the country. And it produced winds up to 90 miles per hour. So a devastating tropical system, and it has broke several records, and this is still very preliminary. We're going to get more updates as they sort of fine tune it. At some point it became a remnant low, wasn't technically a tropical cyclone, so that could cause some issues with the technicalities of how long it lasted, but at least over 35 days. So it's the longest lasting tropical cyclone on record globally. It had the highest ACE. What is ACE? It's accumulated cyclone energy. It sort of measures how much energy, how intense these storms are, and we measure that in all the tropical regions, but it was the highest ACE on record in the southern hemisphere, and this one storm alone produced more energy than what we would typically see in an entire Atlantic hurricane season. That's a lot of energy right there. And it also had the most cycles for rapid intensification. In other words, this storm rapidly intensified into a major storm 6 times. I think the old record was 4 times. Set back a couple of times over the past several decades. So here's that loop from Australia through the Indian Ocean all the way towards the African coastline. And we're going to get more information as this storm has produced some devastating flooding in parts of Mozambique and also in Madagascar and, of course, Malawi. So if you haven't heard of Cyclone Freddie, now you have.
All right, and more on that. The number of deaths after Cyclone Freddie ripped through South Malawi is rising as survivors continue to look for their loved ones in the badly hit areas. At least 584 have been injured and 37 people have been reported missing in the country. Larry Madawo reports on the impacts of the storm. Take a look.
The exact number of the dead from Tropical Cyclone Freddie may not be known for a little while longer. That is because the people who remain missing, unaccounted for, or are believed to be trapped. Because of landslides and flash flooding, there's people who've been cut off. The damage to infrastructure has been significant. Roads and buildings, some cases, power has been knocked off or telecommunications is spotty. So the search and rescue operation is still going on, especially in southern Malawi, which has been worst hit by this tropical cyclone. And in some instances, where entire homes stood, they've been swept away, like this eyewitness explains.
There are plenty of houses, but they are all gone. Plenty of bodies down there in the mud there. Plenty of bodies.
Just how many people are dead under the floodwaters and the mud, it's difficult to tell at this time. Tropical cyclone Freddy made landfall in Mozambique over the weekend, the second time in a month, and there at least 10 people are believed to have died. That number will likely increase. More than 22,000 people are affected, and then it made its way northwards into southern Malawi, where some of the worst devastation has been witnessed. The UN is calling for coordinated assistance. This is in line with the Malawian government declaring a state of disaster and asking for local and international help. Some Malawi corporates are already responding, offering whatever they can. But it's a rush against time here to stop the spread of cholera. Malawi is already suffering from the worst cholera outbreak on record, and with sanitation conditions worsening, there is a real fear here. And that is on top of everything else the country is dealing with.
And in California, a tree came crashing down on a house. And guess what? It came crashing down at the craziest time. It was actually during an on-camera interview with a neighbor. Take a look at this.
And I started to tell him it looks like it's leaning. There it goes. There it goes. Oh my God. Oh. Anyway, there goes my neighbor's house.
This is devastating. It happened Tuesday in Redwood City as grounds remain saturated from a long string of rainstorms that have hit the region since late December. Thankfully, no one was inside that home and no injuries were reported. So far, there was no word on the extent of the damage to the home. And we're getting a look now at the new type of spacesuit that the first woman and person of color to walk on the moon will be wearing. NASA and Texas-based company Axiom Space unveiled the new spacesuit designed Wednesday. It's just a prototype, though. The ones astronauts will actually wear in space will be white. I don't know how I feel about that. NASA says the color helps protect against extreme high temperatures. That makes sense. These new suits come with specialized tools like an HD video camera and light band on the visor of the helmet. Astronauts will start using them during training in late summer. Eventually, they will be worn on the lunar surface during the Artemis mission sometime later this decade. Developing new spacesuits capable of keeping astronauts alive on the moon has been a years-long effort at NASA. The space agency selected Axiom Space as the contractor to produce the suits in September of last year. Lauren?
Well, Tania, a few Stillman College students are on a trip to Brazil, right here in our own neck of the woods, going down to South America to help save the environment. The 7 students and 3 faculty members traveled to Brazil for a major research project, one that could impact you. The group left last weekend, and the focus is sharing ideas with 5 partners in Brazil, including an elementary school on how to get rid of plastic pollution in the world. According to Oceana.org, Brazil has the longest coastline in South America and a problem with plastic waste. But the students aren't all science majors. Some are majoring in business, journalism, and religion.
Some of the ideas, the innovations that our students have come up with, we're going to Brazil to present those to some of our partners in the area of green chemistry who are also working on the same problem, but local to Brazil. So we're going to see what they're doing. They're going to see what we're doing.
Some of the ideas being tossed around in Brazil right now include biodegradable flower pots and PVC pipes with permeable layers to filter out heavy metals. The team will be back this weekend. Now to a picture getting a lot of attention on social media, a great white shark on an Alabama beach just in time for, unfortunately, spring break. You might have to see it to believe it. This happened in Orange Beach last week, right by everyone's favorite place to go, Floribama. 2 shark fishing guides from Pensacola met their clients on the beach and landed what's believed to be the first great white shark ever caught from an Alabama beach.
It 100% took every one of us to reel that fish in. I mean, everybody cranking until they couldn't anymore, and then the next person would go, and then eventually Dylan got in the harness and was just like, we have to put more heat to this fish other than just the rod holder, because this fish needs to come in as healthy as possible.
It took a little over a minute, 63 seconds to be exact, to release the great white. A shark expert told our sister station that the 10 to 11 foot shark is a juvenile, most likely drawn toward the coast by the cooler water this time of the year. Man, 10 to 11 feet for a juvenile. Shark problems. Coming up next on First Alert Weather Extra, we check back in with Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt for a look at that super 7-day forecast. First alert for some rain on the way, and now I'll take you beyond the 7-day to let you know if spring will return. We'll be right back.
West Shore Home is making shower and bath remodeling easy and more affordable for everyone. Hey everybody, I'm joined by Kirsten Page from West Shore to find out exactly how they're making that happen. Kirsten.
So Joe, we've been able to give homeowners, over 165,000 of them, the shower and bath of their dreams by making it a fast, easy, and convenient experience. But now we're making it even more affordable to start your project without breaking the bank.
Now Kirsten, when someone starts a remodeling project, costs can be a real concern. So how are you making it more affordable to start that project right now?
So instead of me telling you, why don't I show you? This homeowner was having some problems with their old shower. They called us, we stopped out, and we completely removed the old bathtub and replaced it with a walk-in shower in just one day. The best part? We can do a job like this for as low as $99 a month.
$99 a month, that's incredible.
It really is. We understand that budgets can be a little tighter this time of the year, so we want to make it easier for folks to get their projects started right now. So let's go ahead and look at another project we recently did. This homeowner was so excited to get rid of their old bathtub because they were getting an easy, low-step shower. You can see here we took out that old bathtub and removed everything down to the studs. Then we installed new walls and fixtures. By dinner time, this homeowner had their brand new shower, and the best part, they didn't need to worry about paying for their entire project up front. They were able to break it down into low monthly payments.
That project looks amazing, and the low monthly payments is going to make getting that project started so much easier. Kirsten, thanks so much. Folks, West Shore Home is making shower and bath remodeling fast and convenient, and you heard Kirsten, now they're making it more affordable too with their easy, low monthly payments. Call the number on your screen right now to start your project, and when you do, take advantage of this great offer. Call in now to get your new shower for as little as $99 a month. On top of that, they're doing free installation on all shower and bath projects. Don't delay. Call the experts at West Shore Home now.
Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. 7-day forecast, low around 36 on average tomorrow morning. The temperatures, those outlying areas, as we've been telling you about, we could get close to freezing. So that's why we have another freeze warning that's mostly in effect for eastern areas, but to the north here as well. Hopefully by now you have those plants covered up and protected. Notice all these other counties highlighted underneath a frost advisory. Looking at Friday, rain comes back for St. Patrick's Day. That's 62 degrees. That high may happen a bit earlier in the day. Notice what happens 4 a.m. Here comes the wet weather early morning, late tomorrow night and early on Friday. And as this approaches, I just want to point out tomorrow we're going to be dealing with some windy conditions as this arrives. Gusty winds out of the south. There could be a rumble of thunder as this moves in. And then for the rest of the day, some rain, maybe some rumbles, especially south through lunchtime and into the afternoon. But notice that temperature falling there. Big drop in temperatures. It's going to feel cold, but the good news is it looks like if you have plans, a gathering there for St. Patrick's Day going into Friday night, we will see this rain come to an end, so we'll catch some breaks there for the evening. But bundle up out there. It's going to be a cold Friday night. But tomorrow, actually, I mentioned that light freeze, frost in the morning, afternoon high around 69. But again, that breeze picks up. That rain's going to come in here late tomorrow night. If you're heading out to Legacy Arena for the March Madness and the tournament happening there, should be some great weather for travel. No weather issues tomorrow night. Again, the rain holding off until Friday, but 100%. We're confident it is going to rain there on Friday. But all the wet weather moves out for the weekend. Still chilly. Let's talk about Saturday. We have the St. Patrick's Day Parade. We'll be in good shape. This shows some clouds, but we'll have lots of sunshine out there during the day. There will be some nice improvements. Temperatures, though, on the chilly side, 52 degrees down to 28 into Sunday morning. Checking out Monday, we're going to start the day. Look at this, 20s possible there, showing 26 around 26 in Anderson, 28 Pell City, 30 there around Tuscaloosa, so more freezing temperatures, and then a few showers coming back around next Tuesday. We'll be talking about a little bit of wet weather coming back as well. High temperatures there around 55 degrees. You can see we start to warm up with temperatures around 64 on next Wednesday, and likely what's going on there typically when we start to go from cold and dry back to a milder moist pattern, sometimes we'll start to see those rain chances come back. So looking ahead, Monday 4:24 p.m. the official arrival of the spring season, the vernal equinox. That's astronomical spring arriving on Monday, and we've got freezing temperatures. But how soon after that will we experience a big warm up? Let's head over to meteorologist Lauren Linehan, talk about beyond the 7-day forecast.
Hey, Wes. Well, I think definitely going into the first day of spring, we're going to be holding on to that cooler than average pattern. Not just us here in Alabama, but you can see especially out west, along in the west of the Rockies, and then even down closer towards the Gulf Coast. The one exception, of course, being Central and South Florida with above average temperatures in the forecast 6 to 10 days from now. But here in Alabama, likely going to see below average temperatures at least for early next week. But I do think there are some hints of spring in the forecast. So check it out. Here we are next Tuesday and Wednesday with high temperatures still in the 50s. By late March, we should be getting into the upper 60s for our highs. So it looks like we're finally going to be seeing that late next week. And then check it out, maybe in the 70s by the time we go into next weekend. Another brief cool down before we see temperatures beginning to look a bit more typical for this time of the year, if not above average, with highs getting back into the 70s. So I think we're going to see a pattern change once we get past the 7-day here. Now, we could still see some near freezing temperatures early next week, but notice we're just not seeing those major cool downs in the forecast even as we go beyond the 7-day into next weekend and beyond as we get a little closer, believe it or not, to April. But even if you look at this, you're like, okay, well, maybe just some frost early next week and then good to go. Remember, we could still get some cold snaps around. That's why we discourage you from planting until about mid-April. Normally after Easter, Good Friday, you're good to go. So looking at 6 to 10 days from now, as far as that rainfall outlook, you can see across parts of Texas, closer to the Mexico border, below average precipitation, but a good portion of the U.S., including us here in the southeast, could see below or above average precipitation rather. So the chance for more rain in the forecast. So let's track any storm systems that could be coming through. Here we are next Thursday, March 23rd. We see a ridge of high pressure beginning to build in over the Gulf of Mexico. And remember, next Thursday is when I said, okay, that's when we could begin to see some milder temperatures coming back into the forecast after that secondary cool down that we're going to get this upcoming weekend. So you see that ridge, and that's going to tell us, okay, temperatures should be warming up. I mean, check it out as we get into next Thursday, potentially seeing highs getting into the 70s. And then as we go into next Friday and Saturday, here we are March 24th on Friday, we begin to see a system moving in that could be bringing us some rain, potentially lingering into that Saturday. We'll certainly just have to fine tune the forecast in the days ahead, but looking like the possibility of an active weather pattern going into next weekend. Here we are Sunday, March 26th, still showing that little disturbance on the northern periphery of the ridge set up over the Gulf of Mexico that could be bringing us the opportunity for more rain in the forecast as we get into early Monday. Of course, if we see, okay, the signs of a warmer pattern and a potentially active pattern, could that mean severe weather? Not set in stone just yet, but this is certainly something we're going to be watching in the days ahead. So potentially towards the end of March, looking maybe a little bit stormier and potentially warmer. Tuesday, March 28th, showing still some rain lingering. So we'll certainly want to watch for anything in the way of above average rainfall as well. But coming up on First Alert Weather Extra, we'll take a final look at that 7-day forecast. And if you are a dog lover, we have some news about the USA's new favorite pup. We'll be right back.
We heard the first alert. Mom says we have to go. She says I don't have time to grab any more toys.
Need to be in your tornado safe place. Get there right now as you have.
We have to get to our safe place because sometimes when you hear the siren, it's too late. That's why she says knowing first is everything.
We know know weather can be grab the umbrella or jogging shoes, but it's so much more. It's a science, an art, led by knowledge and experience.
And no one has more of that than a WBRC First Alert weather team.
Warning you first with more hours committed to you. And the first forecast built to see weeks, days, and even minutes ahead, right down to where you live. From the team you trust on your favorite screen.
Doing the weather better. The WBRC First Alert weather team, always on your side.
The first alert is more than a warning. It's a promise. A promise to get you out of harm's way with plenty of time to spare. 4 walls and a roof can be replaced. Lives can't. That's why knowing first is everything. First Alert weather.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Before we wrap up this evening, we have some exciting news from across the pond. One of the world's rarest pigs, not talking about myself, talking about an actual pig, is preparing for her first Mother's Day. Tess is a Vissian warty pig at a zoo in England. She gave birth to her first piglet, Tadeo, in December. Oh my goodness, they are so cute. I don't even want to read the script, just want to watch the video. Today it was the first ever Visayan warty pig at the Conservation Zoo. The critically endangered pig is known as the world's rarest pig because there are less than 200 left in the wild. The new piglet, Tadeo, is part of a European breeding program for the species. This year in the UK, Mother's Day will be observed on Sunday, March 19th, so about a couple months before ours. Meanwhile, for all you canine fans, the U.S. has a new favorite dog. After more than 30 years, with their bat-like ears and wrinkly noses, French Bulldogs are now top dogs in the country. According to the American Kennel Club's 2022 registration statistics, the cute and compact French Bulldog now sits in the #1 spot. It's the first time in 31 years the Labrador Retriever, has been unseated as the most popular dog breed in the country. The French Bulldog has been steadily climbing the AKC's rankings over the last few decades, hitting #14 in 2012. In 2021, the breed held the #2 spot behind the popular Labs, but ahead of Golden Retrievers. Frenchies are small in size and have a quiet demeanor. They're not typically prone to barking and don't need as much exercise as larger dogs, making them a good fit for those living in apartments or smaller homes. Might I add that cats also work in that situation as well. However, like many flat-faced dog breeds, they are prone to breathing problems. And just a reminder too, if you aren't able to buy a dog, which we highly recommend adopting, not shopping if possible. So let's get a look at that super 7-day forecast for tomorrow. If you're going to be taking the dog on a walk, or if you're like me, need to get your cat a stroller, it's going to be a nice day. We are going to be starting off with widespread frost, but check it out, warming up to near 70 degrees tomorrow afternoon. And then we do have that first alert for some rain on St. Patrick's Day. Right now, it looks like the bulk of the rain is going to move through during the morning and afternoon hours. So if you have any plans to celebrate St. Patty's Day, Friday evening, should be drying out. It's going to be getting colder though. 30s back in the forecast by Saturday morning, and then on Sunday and Monday we have a first alert for freezing temperatures again. So still looking pretty chilly into next week. Remember though, as I was mentioning, beyond the 7-day, I think we're going to be seeing a warming trend by the middle of next week. So winter may not get the last laugh. But you can check back in with Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt tonight for an update on your 7-day forecast. I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Have a safe and happy Wednesday evening.